Every time I was about money.
Caetano Flores is trying desperately to have a 2013 felony drug conviction overturned, not because he's innocent.
I understand I was doing wrong. I'm not admitting. I was wrong.
He claims poor legal representation.
All we would hear is, he got to pay the money. He got to pay the money. It's like, what's the deal with the money?
Open.
Co-defendant Hector Flores is not related by blood, but the men are longtime friends and share a similar claim.
We never talked about our case. All they talked about is the money.
The convicted felons now say their cases were more about money than justice. They filed handwritten malpractice lawsuits against their lawyers, Katie Hagan and Glenn Funk. They've also complained to the Board of Professional Responsibility, the agency that investigates attorney misconduct. Hector and Caetano claim that Hagan and Funk worked with prosecutors to fine them $250,000 in exchange for lighter prison sentences. The prosecutors indicate that payment of fines is one component of plea bargains.
Hector ended up paying $250,000 to get a reduced. We got different sentences. We didn't get what they first came up with.
Basically, this is justice for sale in the form of people can literally buy time off their prison sentences as long as they can afford to pay the large fines in compensation to the state.
He's dropping this from 20 years.
Alex Friedman is managing editor of Prison Legal News, a monthly publication that focuses on the rights of inmates and criminal justice issues. He says while completely legal, fines can pay down prison time.
In this case, I think it shows the sliding scale where the amount of time somebody would serve in prison decreases as the amount of money they're willing to pay as a fine increases.
An email dated February 2012 from prosecutor John Zimmerman to defense attorney Katie Hagan reads, in the event that he, Hector, pays a $250,000 fine plus costs, state will offer Flores 20 years at 20% total for all charges.
My regular sentence was 40 years at 30%, but I was asked to pay a fine of $250,000 to reduce my time by 20 or 20%.
Zimmerman, who is now assistant district attorney in Rutherford County, defends the deal he negotiated.
To me, if you can disgorge somebody of their ill-gotten gains or criminal proceeds, particularly when they have them in a foreign country, you're helping the people of this state.
According to Zimmerman, drug agents believed Hector's drug profits were out of reach in Mexico, and a fine was one way to recover some of the money. He says he had no way to predict what the parole board might do, but he believed it was unlikely that either defendant would be released after serving 20% of a 20-year sentence.
Regardless of what the release eligibility is, I never believed that they would get released in 20% of that time, based on what the parole board was doing. So I felt like they would probably be locked up between 12 and 18 years.
When Hector paid the fine, criminal court judge Steve Dozier signed off on the plea deal, which guaranteed both Hector and Caetano would get less than the 30 to 40 years they could have faced had they gone to trial.
Caetano was prepared to take the 25 to 30 if Hector didn't pay that money. He was willing to plead guilty and was actually happy that Hector had come up with that money and his sentence was significantly reduced.
Hector and Caetano were among more than 30 people arrested in November of 2010 after surveillance and wiretaps led drug agents to 1,200 pounds of marijuana the two helped to transport from Texas to a warehouse on Trinity Lane. Convictions on all of the money laundering charges could have landed Hector Flores and Caetano Flores up to 100 years in prison. So 20 years at 20% sounds like a pretty sweet deal. So why are they complaining?
Say, well, you know, these people are, you know, dealing drugs. This is maybe what they deserve.
And I know what we were doing, but just because it means that we do it and break the law, does it give them to break the law too.
Defense attorney and former prosecutor David Rabin did not represent either of the Flores men, but says drug cases are largely about money. The issue in drug cases is almost always money-driven. That's why these cases occur, and so to hit the defendant in the pocketbook is a significant sanction in any criminal case. Rabin says money can put some defendants at an advantage, but it's part of a complex sentencing structure aimed at getting the profits from drug crimes. I understand the argument, but these cases are limited almost always to financial crimes where restitution is trying to be made. After serving about 20% of their sentences, Hector and Caetano have been denied parole, and they've had time to reconsider that plea deal.
I'm not saying that I'm innocent. I'm just saying that I just didn't get a good representation from my lawyers. You know, at the end of the day, is I stayed in the county jail for 28 months. And so I gave them what they wanted, $250,000.
Believe me, if we wouldn't have if Hector wouldn't have come up with that money, we would have probably still been in the county jail, like one of their co-defendants still in the county for 4 years.
They now believe the same thing that motivates the drug trade motivated the outcome of their cases. Only this time, the profits went to the state of Tennessee.
They want a second bite at the apple and go to trial. We're more than willing to let them go to trial. But I don't think that's what they want.
Erica Lathan, Fox 17 News.